All right, welcome to part 5 of our series on the basics of PowerCards for the Roll20 API. You might notice a few changes with this video. First, I've got some new audio equipment to record these videos. Hopefully this will improve the sound quality for everyone. And second, I've also been experimenting with several different video editing platforms, and I'll be using some more advanced features than just splicing out some of my mistakes. So today we're going to talk about visual effects and sound effects, and how to trigger them from your PowerCards. I'll start off by mentioning right away that there are two different methods for both sound effects and visual effects. And today we're going to be talking about the straightforward, direct method of incorporating the tags directly into your PowerCards. So by that I mean that we'll use the VFX opt and sound effects tags in our cards and specify the parameters right in line for those tags. The second method allows you to use attributes on characters, and you can use that to configure some very complicated and powerful generic power cards. But that is complex enough that it really deserves its own video. And in fact, that video already exists, as that was one of the first features I added to PowerCards when I started maintaining the script. I'll put a link to that video in the description, and assuming I can figure out how to do it, I'll put one of those fancy flyout things in the upper right corner as well. All right, let's jump over into our game real quick, and you'll see I have a new layout for these videos to try and get more information on the screen at the same time. And I'll use the area in the upper right for some text that I can add after the fact. The first thing I want to do there is a shout out to my patron subscribers, Donald K and Dan C. I didn't want to use your last names, guys, without verifying that with you first, but your support for both PowerCards and the other API scripts that I put together is much appreciated. So let's jump into Roll20 and look at what is a visual effect. And if you're a DM in a Roll20 game, you have a few more options on the toolbar on the left here than players do, one of which is this lightning bolt. When you select that, you'll get two drop-down menus at the top. And the left menu selects the shape of the effect you want to create, and the right menu selects the energy type, or really the color of the particle effects, so what they look like. So let's do an acid nova, and once you've selected these two, anywhere you click, it will radiate out from that point. There are a couple of effects that are a little bit different. The beam, breath, and splatter require a direction. So if we do an acid beam and we click somewhere, it'll ask us to aim the effect. So I can say, okay, target it towards the light, see the beam shoots out. I should note that it is a direction and not a target point. If I click way down here and then set my direction up in the upper right corner, you'll see that the beam travels about 5 or 6 map squares and ends. So it doesn't stretch out along the entire length. It just uses that as a direction to fire the effect towards. So let's look at how we create these in PowerCards and how we can use them. And to do that, I've got a basic card here. I'm going to add VFX _ OPT. And just like any other PowerCards tag, it has to be unique. So if you want to do more than one on a card, you would add the ×1, ×2, ×3 notation. We're just going to do one for now. And then we have a choice to make. Our parameters here, we can have up to 3 parameters. And the effect type is required. It's the only one that's actually required. So let's look at that Nova-Death. And the way you specify this is the shape of the effect, a dash, and the energy type for the effect. But if we only specify one parameter, the card has to have a token ID tag. And let's just do target token ID. That way we'll be prompted for one. We don't have to worry about having something selected when we run the card. So that's the simplest way to do this. If I highlight these lines and paste it over into PowerCards here and hit enter, I will be asked to specify a target. Pick the rhino here, and we get a nice death explosion. So the other parameters, if we take off this token ID, we can specify two parameters, in which case the first parameter is the source of the effect. So the token that the effect is going to be generated at and the effect type. So this will actually be no different than what we just ran before. It'll ask us to specify a target, specify the rhinoceros, and you'll have an explosion around that character. Finally, if we specify three parameters, the first parameter is the source of the effect, the second parameter is the location of the direction of the effect in relation to the source, and the last parameter is the effect type. So if we go in here and say target and we can actually even just call this direction. So we run this and we'll be asked now to specify a target and then a direction. And when we click that, now you'll notice that it didn't really do anything because the nova is not a directional effect. So let's go back and change that from nova to beam and run that again. And you'll see we're asked for our target, which is really the source position, so we can probably change the name of the target notation there, and then the direction we want to fire the effect in. There we go. And that's another thing I haven't really talked about. If you are going to specify multiple targets in Roll20 in general, you can use two vertical bars and put the name that you want the user to be prompted to enter between them. So when we run this, we'll be prompted not for target, but for effect source, and then direction. And I should note there is sometimes a couple of seconds lag when Roll20 displays a video effect. I'm not sure whether that's browser-based or whether it's something in the Roll20 engine itself, but it does happen. So that is really the straightforward way to create video effects. And as I said in the introduction, the more advanced way is covered in a separate video, which I'm going to leave a link to. So let's talk about audio effects. So sound effects are a little more complicated. In order to use sound effect play through PowerCards, you need to have the Roll20 Audio Master API script installed. And this is available on one click to script library, audio. Oh, it's already installed in my game, so it's not going to show it up here. But it's Roll20 Audio Master, and it lets you use API commands to control your jukebox audio. So I've already got that installed, and I'm going to take a look at how we would add effects that we're going to play. So if I open up the jukebox tab and add new manage audio, right? So click manage audio in the upper right, and I want to look for tracks. And I believe this defaults to starting on playlists, but you want to go to tracks. And then in this case, I'm going to take a look at the Mind Stun audio effect. So BattleBards has a nice number of sound effects. The tabletop audio and Incomtech are more music oriented, but BattleBards does have a sound effects category, in fact. So you can just search for what you're looking for. Mind Stun, I happen to know, is the name of the effect we want to play, and I can get a preview of it here, and then I can add it to the game. So the important thing to take note of is the name that it was added here, and also something that is easy to forget, that when you add sound effects to your jukebox, you need to run the update for Roll20 Audio Master. And the way we do that is by hopping back over to the chat tab and entering !Roll20 AM, and AM has to be capitalized, the Roll20 or the roll has to be lowercase, and then --config, import. And that tells the Roll20 Audio Master script to go out and look at your jukebox and input all the stuff, or import all the stuff that's in it into its own database. So we run that, and it tells me all the tracks and playlists have been imported, and now I can actually play those tracks. So let's take a look at our notepad window again, and we added psionic damage as an audio effect. So sound FX is the tag for audio effects, and then all we need to do is specify. This is actually very much like calling an API script. And actually, let's pop over real quick to the PowerCards wiki and look at the audio effects syntax here. And you can see that it's just sound effects and then a command that's going to get passed directly into Roll20 Audio Master. So actually, we even copy this out so we can use it as a template. And back to our card. So it's the command for Roll20 Audio Master is --audio, but when we call another API script through PowerCards, we substitute an underscore for --. So it's audio, play, no menu, and then the name of the track we want to play. If we switch back over to our jukebox here, we can see that the name of the track we want to play is Mind Stun Sigh by Danielle Galante. And the easiest thing to do is highlight that, copy it, and paste it into our card. So now, if we run this card, just copy this, paste it into here, we'll be prompted for our effect source, our location, or I'm sorry, our direction, and we also have the sound that plays along with that. And really the trick there that I always run into problems with is I'll add a effect to my game and forget to import this stuff into Audio Master. So I'm trying to play it, it's not showing up, or it's not playing, and I can't figure out why, and then I remember I have to update the list of tracks in Audio Master. And that's really all there is to audio effects. It's more complicated to set up, but it's actually easier to run in your card. And all of these support conditionals. So if we had attack roll of TTK 1d20 plus 5 plus 3. We could come and say only play this if ATK is greater than, say, 15. So we copy that, then we'll make a dice roll. We played the sound because we rolled the 22. See if we can get a miss, essentially. Nope, get an even better hit. So let's go back and just change that real quick and say that we have to roll higher than a 24 to play the effect. On that, pick 2 points, or 2 tokens. And there we missed, so it didn't play the sound effect. So just like anything else, you can use it in conditionals, the video effect as well. We could have done exactly the same thing and made that conditional as long as we didn't want to play it in the case of a miss. And the last thing I want to leave you with here is a site that I really like called Open Game Art. And copy that, paste it into my browser here. So this site has a lot of open license sound effects, graphics, and other things you can use. And if you do browse sound effects, there's a ton of I don't know how many pages of so 50 pages of effects. And it's all user generated content, so some of it would be a little higher quality than others, but it's all essentially free. You can filter by what license you want to have available, but there's a lot of CC0, which is essentially public domain effects and things you can use on this site. So I get some sound effects from there every so often if I'm going to use them. And I think that's where we'll wrap it up. I know this video has taken a while to come out, but I've been making some changes to my environment here, and hopefully that will speed things up for the next one as I've learned to use this stuff. So we will pick it up again in the next episode. Thank you.